Hi, welcome to this webinar about what parents should know about streaming. Okay. The idea is that you end up with a clear understanding of what streaming is, and then know what the positives are, know what the negatives are, and know some tools that you can use to minimize the effects of those negative risks or negative concerns that there are about streaming. Okay, you probably know these parts. Yeah, as mentioned, we will start by defining streaming and then the benefits, the risks, and what to do to minimize the risks. Now, what is streaming? Okay, streaming is just the production of live content, be it music or video. Music doesn't have that many risks associated with it, since apps like Spotify don't allow users to interact with each other other than following their own lists and stuff. We are going to focus mainly on video. That's the one that is most widely used, and that's the one that presents the most concern for kids, for students. Okay. As mentioned, during video streamings, users can interact with each other and they can interact with the presenter. They have a chat. Normally, they have reactions that they can use. They can post comments, and those are the basis of the interactions that happen between them. Okay. It's super important to understand that streamers for our kids are influencers. Whatever they do or say, our kids are going to follow, because for them, the streamers are complete idols. Okay? Now, streaming platforms. To be honest, before I did the research for this talk, I only knew about Twitch, Steam, YouTube, and I have heard of Omegle. I've never used Omegle. I've never used Twitch. I think I connected twice. But anyway, there's this other, Instagram I know. But there's these other platforms. If you see those icons, it means your kid is using a streaming platform. To put things in context, the streaming business is super important and bigger than we can imagine. Okay, 30 million users stream daily. 30 million view streams daily. Last year, 22.4 billion hours were consumed. That means I didn't understand what that was, so it's 25,000 centuries if you put them together. And the revenue of the Twitch platform, Twitch is the most important platform, so we are going to focus on that, but there's other platforms, so extrapolate this to the other platforms. It made 2.8 billion last year. Now, on average, the average user watches 95 minutes per day. That means that there are some users that watch 15-30 minutes per day. There's other users that watch more than we can imagine, and they probably more, or quite likely more than they should. Now, it's not all bad, okay, and we are going to discuss some benefits of streaming quickly. There's events there. Users can view conferences, they can view concerts, they can view all these positive things, this Comic-Con, stuff like that. They also belong to a community. This is super important for our kids, especially as they go into adolescence. Being with like-minded people is something that we need as humans. So sometimes there's no like-minded people in their school or in their community, so this is a way for them to find those people. Okay, they can find them online, they can find them through streaming platforms. Of course, there's a recreational value, to disconnect, to help them relax after doing their work, after doing their study, after doing their chores. Yeah. There's also the benefit of real-time engagement and interaction. Of course, we cannot deny that. We are humans. We love to interact with each other, and there's a lot of power between with that interaction. The streamers, the people that do their streams, the people that live stream know that they interact frequently with their viewers, they ask questions, they read the comments. So there's this added value and there's this element of engagement that it's not on normal TV, for example. Okay. There's also creativity. There's it can help boost creativity. There's channels that are dedicated to that. So users can view those channels, they can see other people being creative, and they can in turn boost their creativity. Another benefit is that the streamers themselves are normal people, so to speak. They are not like companies, or so they don't have a hidden agenda, they don't have a political agenda to go through or to communicate or to embed on the viewers as maybe TV channels do, or as mass media does. Okay, so having said that, it's not entirely true that they don't have an agenda. They are people and they do have a hidden agenda, which is to make money. Okay, and that will cause some concerns, and we will discuss them later. But my point here is that in general, the streamers are normal people, and they normally don't try to push a political or a manipulate in any way their viewers, trying to convince them, trying to change their opinion, trying to get them think in a way, in a specific way, as some mass media do. Another benefit is that there are communities that get together to study or to work, okay, and they don't feel so alone, so they can feel the company. There's also the power of doing something together, which kind of commits you to doing something that maybe you don't feel like it. So that's another benefit of these communities. You can join one of these communities, or your student can join one of these communities and study with other people if he cannot do it in life. Yeah. Now, we've covered some benefits of streaming. We've seen that it can boost creativity, it can allow you to attend conferences or concerts that you wouldn't be able to normally. There's the community factor, there's the engagement with interaction. All those things are super interesting. They are benefits that shouldn't be diminished, okay, just because of the cons that we are going to focus on. But there are some concerns, there are some risks associated with the streaming, and they are tied together with some of those benefits. Okay, so you will see, if you allow interaction, you open the door to some things. And then if you have people that are not professional, they are going to demand money. We will discuss them in detail now. So main con, and you will see that some of the rest that we are going to discuss can be encompassed in this big category, is the possibility of being exposed to inappropriate content for people under age. Okay. Even though the legal age to join these platforms is 13 years old, there's no real check behind it. So you just are asked when you join, when you create an account, you are asked at your age, and you can fake it. You can say that you were born in 1975, and that's it. You are in. Okay, so there's the possibility of that. The content is live. I mean, the streamers react. The streamers may say may curse. The commenters, because there's live interaction, there's live chat, there's live comments, may curse in turn. They may say inappropriate things, and that's another concern that we will discuss in detail in a few slides. But yeah, that's the main thing. I mean, the possibility of being exposed to inappropriate content is there, and if it is there, it will happen. One type of inappropriate content that the kids watching these streaming platforms can be exposed to is marketing. Okay, this the guy in the picture here is Willy Rex, and I said before that streamers don't have a hidden agenda. In this case, this guy had a very public agenda, and it was to push his business of NFTs, non-fungible tokens, among his viewers. Okay, so he dedicated a good amount of time to push this content. NFTs are non-fungible tokens. They are a complicated product based on speculation. Basically, you buy something that you own the rights to, and then you can sell it later for a profit. As you can imagine, this is not something that 12-year-olds, 8-year-olds should be doing, but that's his main audience. His main audience are teenage kids. They see him as an idol. If Willy Rex says that this is the future and that we are going to make a lot of money with this, there were kids literally breaking their piggy banks and buying these complicated products, speculating. 1 year later, those that money was gone. Obviously, NFTs are of no value anymore, and this guy is richer, and many kids are poorer as a consequence. Okay, so that's one big thing. Again, it ties into the inappropriate contents that kids may be exposed to if they do watch these streamings. And we've discussed also the chat. There's the possibility of hate speech. There's the possibility of bullying. And since those possibilities are there, they will happen, and they happen. I mean, and chat is live, so there are moderators. There are people taking care of removing those type of hurtful messages. But no system is bulletproof, so to speak. So there's always some of those messages that slip through the net of moderators, and that children can be exposed to. Again, tying with the inappropriate messages, and as a bad consequence, as a negative consequence, associated with the fact that the users can interact with each other. If the users can interact with each other, that's good, and it also leads to this type of interaction, which is obviously not desirable. Yeah, we mentioned NFTs, but it's not only NFTs. Streamers in general, they are not paid. They are paid by subscriptions. They are paid by things like that. So they need to promote those. And promoting those means they ask their viewers, if you like this content, if you want me to produce more, please subscribe. Subscriptions can be something like €5 per month. Now, if your kid follows 3 or 4 streamers, that's €20 per month, and that's money. And they also ask for donations, and donations are at one time only. They also are offered these enhanced capabilities where the platform itself would sell them the possibility of having their text on their comments bold or highlighted, to distinguish themselves from the non-paying users. Paying also gives them access to reactions like colorful and animated reactions that can make them highlight their message over the rest of the commenters, of the average commenters that don't bother paying, and that's a possibility there. So you need to know that even though watching streams is free, they are targeted, and they are targeted to spend their money on the platform, on the streamers. Associated with the chat capabilities, and taking into account that a lot of teenagers are attracted to these platforms, that's a breeding ground for sexual predators to attack, to prey on these streams, on the most popular streams, and target these kids. Okay, so you need to be aware of that as well. There's the possibility of grooming and stalking. There's anonymity normally in the chats. And if there's no anonymity, no one is checking that your the username that you write and your name and last name are real. So even though it says John Peters, it could be anyone. So that's something you need to be aware of. Okay. There's also the possibility of your kid being influenced or being persuaded to do a challenge or a dare. Some of those are harmless. Some of them are a health risk. Okay, there was a famous one lately about eating a pod for like a detergent pod, one of those that you put in your dishwasher. So that's something we need to be aware of. Kids may be exposed to this. Now, we've covered the negatives. We've covered the many different risks that students, kids are exposed to if they use these platforms. Okay, it's mainly inappropriate content. It's mainly being exposed to things they shouldn't be exposed to, like hate speech, like bullying, like predators trying to groom them, trying to stalk them, like being targeted for money. And being targeted using marketing strategies to get them to spend their money. Now, what can we do to minimize those risks? What tools do we have? So the first one is to talk. Okay, you need to, and this is a general tool that you need to use in order to minimize not only the risks associated with streaming, but the risks associated with any problem. Okay, if your kids know that you are there for them, that they can trust you, that you will support them, that you will help them, okay, they will go to you in the moments there's a risk situation, the moments they have concerns about something. Okay, if they are approached by someone that they shouldn't be approached, if they are considering spending an amount of money in a bogus product that someone is trying to push them, okay, they will go to you. So that's what you need to do. You need to cultivate this relationship, of course. Yeah. In the case of streaming itself, okay, one conversation that you can have with your kid is you can start a discussion on authenticity. Okay, so you can discuss who are really the streamers that he or she follows, and what are their motivations, what are their purposes, and whether they are authentic or not. Okay, that's something that you can discuss. But anyway, talking and knowing that you are there for them is the best tool that you have, and the best strategy that you have to minimize all those risks. Knowledge is power, okay, and you need to be aware and you need to know what influencers, what streamers is your kid following, and you need to do your own research. You need to know whether they have been involved in a scam in the past or whether they are trying to push products that they are marketing by themselves and stuff like that, okay? So again, knowledge. You need to check in, meaning no kid should be browsing the internet on its own in their room. We're under no vigilance whatsoever, okay? All the browsing, all the online experiences should happen on a public space in your house, should happen under your supervision. You should be able to, over the shoulder, watch what your kid is watching. You should be able to hear what he is listening to in order to be aware and to be able to intervene, so should the case require it, okay? And those interventions, those teaching moments are super powerful, okay? Kids in general know what they should and shouldn't do online. The problem is they forget when they don't act like that when the case is presented to them, okay? So it's like a golden rule that your kids shouldn't be alone browsing online, and you should be always aware, you should be always capable of intervening if you see or hear something strange, and you use that as a teachable moment. Another risk is the risk of your kid sharing private information and giving stalkers, giving sexual predators information that they can use to stalk them or to groom him. So stalk him or groom him. So please remind your kid that he shouldn't share private information online, and also you do your due diligence and set all the privacy settings, set them to private, set them to no comments, to protect as much as possible the privacy of your kid. And there's more on that now. Yeah, like set up parental controls, turn off explicit contents, and turn off explicit personal messages, to protect as much as possible your kid, okay? Because if those personal messages are like, they are not moderated, so they are a breeding ground for grooming and stalking. Explicit content, of course, because you don't want to see him to see or her to see inappropriate things, and parental controls to allow that you to have control, okay? Now, if worst comes to worst and something happens, you need to take screenshots, you need to block, and you can see here how to block. You click on the three dots and then you block the user, and you need to report it, which is the second option there. Yeah. This has, at least the same user under the same username won't be bothering your kid again. Now, they can create another user and they can come back at it again. Okay, so again, the first advice that I gave you about talking about establishing that trust relationship and the golden rule of kids navigating always on a public place should be there to always protect your kid. Now, another conversation that you can have with them is how everything that they submit online will be there forever, and it's part of their digital footprint, can be research, can be found in some years' time, so they should stick to positive comments, they should stick to being kind online, because everything that they do, as I mentioned, will be part of their digital footprint, and they need to manage that digital footprint for their future. Okay, that's a wrap on the measures that we can take to minimize those risks. Okay, again, this is the main two measures, the main two tools that you have to minimize the risks associated with streaming are establishing a relationship with your kid and making sure he always browses, he always accesses those streaming portals on a public place where you can see what he's doing, where you can do some over-the-shoulder navigations. That over-the-shoulder navigation can help boost that relationship. You can ask him, you can interact with him, you can see what he is doing, so the more you know, the better. So that's something powerful there, and that's something that will prevent bad things to happen. Okay. Now, if you wish to know more, there's a couple of links here. The slides themselves are on the comments of this video, and that's it. I want to thank you for watching this webinar on what parents should know about streaming and how to prevent the risks. Thank you.